the red light goes on.
Yeah, we get another chair. And we're having like cookies today.
Oh, yeah, yep, no problem.
Yeah, the months over here.
Okay. And it's recorded.
Okay, good. Okay, Steve, you're welcome.
Oh, you're welcome.
All righty, I'll call this meeting to order on December 7th. And I will take any questions or corrections to the minutes as that. A motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, thanks, Ray.
I'll second.
Thank you, Donna. All in favor, I presume, yes?
Yeah, aye.
All righty.
Aye.
Any audience comments? Did we get any?
No, we have no emails came in. I'll double check again.
Alrighty. And the PACD monthly report, which I will. Oh, wow, the whole program is, that's it. Is there anything that you need to attend to?
No, we've been meeting also with teleconferences, so we're update on what PACD is doing. So there's a lot of changes being proposed with regulations and things that they're staying on top of.
You're having way too much fun, Bill.
So they're staying on top of it,
Yes,
and they will keep us abreast of all those issues.
yes.
What kind of changes have they making?
The regulate, I can't get off the top of my head everything they've been talking about. But one was third-party reviews of plans. There's one where they were trying to make it so small projects didn't need to apply for an NPDS permit, they just get a waiver, which is not, I don't even know how it's even proposed, but it's being proposed by legislation.
I don't think that's a good idea.
No, it's not. And then the state also came up with a small project permit that's going to be coming out that addresses 90% of what that bill was going to be. So they didn't even know what the one half of the executive branch was doing. So they were just mad. They're just fighting.
Okay, nice. They have a tendency to do that. We went through that with them. Okay. All righty, next up is a motion request to file all bank statements audit.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, thank you, Ray.
Second. I'll second.
Oh, wait, Steve already seconded. You have to try again, Frank. Okay, emergency review to approve for, oh, none. No emergency review, thanks. Okay. Okay, that's pretty cool. Old business, the Conservation District fee for service. So it was on the council agenda for November 16th. And what did they discuss?
County Council overwhelmingly supported our initiative and approved the changes. So we had mailed out a notice to all the engineering people on our distribution list. We have placed it on the website, so it'll be effective January 1st.
And we've gotten no feedback about this?
No.
Oh, good. So nobody's complaining yet.
I probably got the adverse reaction from some members of the county council in the fact that they're wondering why we weren't high as everybody else in the region. So I had to explain this based on our expenses. So we did do an analysis of what we spent last year and what our fees were tentatively were last year, and we were within $800. So we were pretty good.
Yeah, right.
And that's estimate, that's not every expense that the county provides, because we don't have those numbers. We don't know how much they charge for insurance. We don't, for vehicle insurance, we don't know what the rent is for this building. So we don't have some costs.
Right.
But so if that stuff changes over time, then we'll have justification to increase fees further.
Right. rather than going for it now and not have some.
Right.
Okay. Well, good job. That's been hard for though. Perhaps not foot, but it's tested your patience. How about that?
Yeah. Well, making it work is as long as we can keep with our revenue estimates.
Excellent, very good. Okay, you want to tell us about the director nomination process?
Yeah, I did reach out to the home builders, but they haven't received the nomination for Frank's position because they were the ones that nominated Frank, just to let them know. And they have nominated someone, so that nominations have been for Steve and for this other person have been received, and everything was forwarded to Elaine and to Ann Coogan, the chief county clerk, so they can. I don't know how they're going to proceed here.
Whether they're going to approve those recommendations.
Correct.
All right, but at least we're moving along, so that's good. Okay, the mini grant application review and approval. Karen, will you look?
Yes. So we received 4 mini grant applications for the fall 2021 mini grant round. The more detailed summaries are in the agenda packet, but I can touch on each of them. Each of the applicants is requesting $500, which is our maximum mini grant request limit. So the first one is Darby Creek Valley Association is requesting $500 for environmental education supplies for youth programs. These programs are year-round ongoing programs. The educational supplies include models, activities, and supplies for these programs. So that's an ongoing thing that they do, and they're requesting support for that. The next request that we received is from Delaware Riverkeeper Network, who I would like to mention. They are based in Bristol, which is in Bucks County, and they are a regional organization. They do work throughout the entire Delaware River watershed, which includes New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. And our mini grant program is geared towards local environmental groups. So just a heads up with that group. So they are proposing to hold a workshop for Delaware County residents about submitting public comments and getting involved in their local government on environmental topics. So they would be using specific examples from Delaware County environmental issues to present to the public to give them an idea of what's going on in the county and to train the public how to attend those public meetings and submit their comments. The next, and they're also submitting for $500. The next one is for the Eastern Delaware County Stormwater Collaborative. They are proposing another environmental education project. It's called the Fish for the Future Educational Program. So they would be purchasing supplies to, I believe they're wooden fish, and they would have students color in the fish or paint them after going through a program about stormwater and stormwater runoff draining to our streams and waterways. And then the next applicant is Tree Tenders of Upper Darby. This is for their tree nursery project. So they have started a tree nursery in Upper Darby Township to have tree giveaways or to have trees available for planting projects and to have, I believe, native plant sales as well. Maybe not plant sales. But these trees are a resource for their community, but they might not be able to get them elsewhere. So the funds from the mini grant would be used to purchase a water pump. They would be used to purchase.
In the corner? Sorry, I'm late,
That's
guys.
fine, it's nice to see you.
I picked my grandkids up at Springton Lake and run them home.
Oh, geez. Have a cookie, it'll make you feel. So this is the tree tenders of Upper Darby, right?
Yes.
They're not gonna have a tree sale or a plant sale.
Oh, sorry, I took on. Okay. Activitas discounts.
Yes.
Righty.
So these would be used for planting projects and community tree giveaways. So,
I always like-
so those are the 4 projects. Each of them are requesting $500.
Do you have any thoughts about these? Should we get them all? And limit?
I think there is a limit, correct?
No, there's no technical limit. We had say we were gonna try to do like limits of $3,000 a year. In the first half, we had one. First half, we had one month.
That we gave away or that we awarded?
We awarded
We awarded one project in spring.
for $500. So we have enough for all the,
Now, are all of these worthy?
there, that's the question.
And, yeah, I mean, the only one that I would, that I brought to your attention was the Delaware River Keeper Network, just because they're a regional organization rather than a local Delaware County environmental group. But otherwise, we have funded, I believe, we've definitely funded DCBA before for their environmental education projects. The collaborative has also applied before. Tree tenders of Upper Darby might be new this year.
But I want you to give some thought to that because I don't believe, in my estimation, by reading what we had approved, that river keepers, are not a local group.
If this event is open to Delaware County people,
Delaware County local organization, is what
that'd be based in Delaware.
policy said.
Yes, locally based environmental organizations.
So, feedback about that? Yes or no on the river keeper? Nobody wants to speak?
If based means that it has to be something like the
There,
headquarters has to be in Delaware County, then it sounds like it's not eligible.
right, it does, doesn't it?
But if it means the project area,
Although the idea
Include
of
Delaware
moving to
County, then maybe
submit
that
public
is-
comments, probably not a bad idea, but if they just, they don't have chapters or anything. I don't think so, because I know.
Don't believe so, but I'm not 100% certain.
Okay. Well, I will entertain a motion to do A, Darby Creek Valley Association,
Came in halfway through, yes,
halfway through the discussion.
right.
Do you want me to give a very quick summary of what
No,
I
I mean,
just-
yes. Trust you guys.
Okay, all right. Someone like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make the motion.
All right, a second would be good. Ray, you're usually good for the
I'll
second.
I'll second the motion.
Good, so that, yes, for the Darby Creek Valley.
Great, got it.
Okay.
Yes,
The Delaware River Keeper, we're gonna hold that in abeyance. I think that's pretty much agreed upon.
we're voting on them one by one.
Well, I'm thinking, no, should we not?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's what we used to do.
So I think we've done both ways.
Okay, fine. Different matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the Eastern Delaware County Stormwater Collaborative, it says here mural.
Okay, so the wooden fish that they'll be painting will be put up on a wall.
Oh,
Yes. And it'll be like a fish mural.
yeah, very sweet.
I don't know where that would be.
Delaware County.
It would be somewhere within their service area, so somewhere in southeastern Delaware County. I don't know if there's
Doesn't
an
seem to
exact
say.
township.
Oh, it says. Oh. Well, I'll entertain a motion for this one. So moved.
So moved.
Thank you, Frank, from the Netherlands, we can't even see you. And the second,
I'll second.
all right. All righty, so everybody agrees on that one?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the tree tenders of Upper Darby. This is good to me, but I will certainly entertain a motion to, thank you. Getting some action out of the Steve's today, this is good. All righty, second?
A second?
All righty, thank you. Who was that? Was that Ray?
Great.
Okay.
Right.
Aye.
All righty. All righty, thank you very much, everybody. So we'll do 1, 3, and 4, but not 2. Okay?
I do have a question. On our list of participants, we have a phone number 610-389-3292. Anybody claim that number?
That's me.
Okay,
That's right.
then we have
That's
another
Frank.
one. Thank you, Frank. And then the other one we have is 610-716-088.
That is Wayne.
Oh, Wayne, no, there you are. Hi, Wayne. You should really have a picture. Really helps.
Everybody's here, huh?
Not exactly. They knew there were going to be cookies.
Second number.
All right. So that's very good, Karen. Thank you for that. And you will proceed, right?
Yes.
So, okay, how about your report on the low volume road action and updates?
So we have a few things that we'll need to hopefully make a motion on. The first one is from last month's meeting. We received an extension request from Edgemont Township on their project. Their contract expired in November. However, they were unable to complete the project because of the pandemic, and they've had some staff turnover. So they are requesting an additional at least 7 months, so up until June 2022 to complete their project.
Are there any stipulations about doing this session?
No, so the only thing that we requested is a written request, and they submitted that. And as far as policy goes, that is permitted. And we did have a QAB meeting last month to discuss that, and our QAB made the recommendation to approve that extension request. So now we would need a motion request from the board to also approve.
I'll make that motion.
All right.
Extension.
Thank you. And a second?
A second.
Thank you very much, Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
All righty.
Aye.
Excellent. Next up.
I have several more things for the low volume program. Sorry. So we did receive 3 applications for the fall 2021 round, and we just had earlier this afternoon a QAB meeting to discuss those projects. So I don't know if the summaries were given out in the packet. So I'll again talk about them as briefly as I can. So Nether Providence Township submitted an application to fund road improvement projects at Forest Avenue. This road is experiencing cracking and ponding along the side of the road and severe erosion. And we, at a site visit, we chatted with some of the residents there, and they were expressing their concerns of excessive runoff, occasional flooding, and icing in the winter. So they're proposing to reprofile the road to create positive drainage to an infiltration swale on one side of the road, which will have perforated piping and stone put down. And that side of the road is where people park their cars. So something sturdier would be better there. And then on the other side of the road, they are proposing a bioswale, which will lead to a rain garden, which will then feed into the storm sewers. So that is another Providence proposed project for $38,900.
I see that it's revised.
Yes, so we had a couple conversations back and forth with them about potential projects, and they submitted an application right at the deadline, just to get an application in. ideas, and they were able to, originally they were gonna do infiltration swales on both sides of the road, and that was just about it, and repaving, I think. But they were able to come up with a 3-scoped project for the bioswale and rain garden. So that'll decrease the volume of water entering the storm sewers.
Sounds like my travel food.
Yeah, no, I had pictures, which I don't think are in here, but eventually I can do a little presentation and show the before and afters of some of our projects. Yadenboro also submitted an application for Manor Road and Parkview Boulevard. They are also experiencing excessive runoff, road deterioration due to standing water and swelling from ice in the winter. So they are proposing a very similar project to what they did last year, which is replacing city inlets. So they have 4 inlets in the project area. They'll be replacing 2 city inlets with standard graded inlets, and then installing water quality inlet filters into 4 of those storm drains. And they would also be repaving and reprofiling the road. The other one that we discussed is an application from Delaware County Parks and Recreation. They're requesting $55,000 to rehabilitate a water quality basin, which we talked about at Spentley Park, and this is around Beaver Mill Road. So that would be installing a larger outlet pipe with access to a backflow valve, and then regrading or recontouring the water quality basin back to its original contours, and then replacing the paving and anything that was torn up as a result of the project. So during our meeting that we just had, we voted to make a recommendation to fund another Providence Townships project fully for $38,900. And then Delaware County Parks and Recreation's project for $49,485.75. And the reason that we cut Delaware County's project back was because we had limited funds available. And unfortunately, not enough to fund all 3 projects. So that is our recommendation to the board. Are there any questions?
And they went back there and went through a ranking policy, procedure, and the ranking showed another problem at the most points, and then Yaden and the county both were tied. However, the discussion with the Yaden project was the fact that we just funded one of their projects. And the second part, the reason why they probably went a little bit behind in my estimation, but I did get the vote, was the fact that they had, green infrastructure. It was just inlet protection as opposed to bioswale or water, water quality based. So without that, that put them behind. But that they're free to reapply in the fall.
So these 2 are the recommended programs.
Another Providence and
Delaware
Delaware.
I was pointing at them.
Okay. Yes.
All righty, well then, I will accept the motion to approve these.
Make a motion to approve the
Thank you.
grants as
All right.
listed.
And second,
I'll second the motion, Ray.
all in favor, yes?
Aye.
Do you have something further to
Aye.
say?
The next step in the process will be to forward to county council for their agenda so they can see if they coincide with our thing.
Right, okay. Yes, we definitely need their stand on this. Ready? Excellent.
I do have one more thing for that program.
Okay, oh, go on.
We tried to get a lot done in the last meeting. Okay, so we are still working out some of the kinks to the program. So once again, we do our policies, and we sat down with the Center for Dirt and Gravel Roads and the State Conservation Commission to go over some of the things that we learned and that we would like to change. I have the revisions here, and I can really quick just go through them and do it in another motion. What's that?
I think we'll need to do that.
Okay, so the first thing that we would like to change is to move the application deadline up a month. So right now, the application deadlines are April 1st and October 30th. We would like to move them to March 1st and September 1st. And the reason for doing that is to give me enough time to work with the applicants to get all the details, review their projects, rescope if we have to. So enough time to have those conversations, and then we can have, for consistency's sake, the mini grant program and the low volume road program in the same board meeting, hopefully, if everything goes to plan. The next thing that we wanted to change is before we had the option to advance 50% of the project funds. And it seemed that grantees were requesting that, but it proved to be difficult with coordinating, getting it to them in a timely manner before construction started and with the timing of our board meetings and everything. So our default pay schedule is going to be 100% reimbursement unless a written request is provided by the municipality. And lastly, sorry, two more things. So when we solicit applications from municipalities, we're going to request a summary, short one-page summary that's going to provide us an explanation of the road benefit and the environmental benefit. And that'll just give us more information to review. And lastly, shortening the contract timeline from 18 months to 1 year. And this will help us spend our money in the allocated time that we have to spend it. So those are the changes that we are making to our policies. Are there any questions or comments or concerns?
The timeline to
1 year. And they're able to provide an extension.
Right, exactly. We have to vote on these revisions.
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty, I will entertain a motion to accept these revisions. It seems appropriate. So, who was that? Steve, how about Steve? You look out there.
Second.
Second?
Second.
Alrighty, then. Andy. Alrighty, all in favor?
Aye.
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 It was kind of, you know.
Yes.
No.
What else you got?
That's all I have for the program. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we go. Now,
Okay, so we wanted to present to the board only because due to the cost of the program, it's from the National Stormwater Center. And it's a 2-day, like 14-hour course, online for certified stormwater inspector, municipal training classes. So that would give us a certification for 5 years and continuing education units. And they would help with our MS4 program as well as inspecting out in the field, post-construction stormwater management controls. So it is approximately $749 per person if we have at least 2 people sign up. And I think we were looking at having 4 of us conduct the participate, is that correct?
It's not a requirement, yeah,
Right.
anybody that would want to go.
So I think we would need a motion to
spend all this money?
correct. Yep.
I'll make a motion to allocate $3,000 to put forward with food classes.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, good. This is a wonderful use of money. Excellent, very good. Thank you, Michelle.
All right, thank you.
And who's going to do it?
I think our 3 technicians and Karen.
Yeah, that's, I was guessing.
Yeah.
Excellent, it's a very good thing. I'm very pleased. All righty, Next up, new business conservation district meeting schedule. I see there's a page in here with things listed. Dates listed. We have to discuss
I see Lane just came in.
already. Hi, Elaine. Where was this?
Hi, everyone.
So this is the, we always have to tickle with the monthly meeting schedule a little bit. Because 4th of July, we did that already, that's been corrected. And now I see that you made a suggestion that we change it from August 2nd, your usual meeting, to August 30th and get rid of September 6th.
Yeah, we usually combine August, September. So I said, rather than having it on one of the days that they normally are, just have it somewhere in the middle.
Right.
And August 30th seems to be,
And that's a Tuesday still?
yes.
All right, does anybody have an objection to changing that? Okay, I think we should.
November 8th. Yeah, November 8th.
Right, so it's interesting that November 1st, this time we get in before the election, usually behind the election.
Yeah.
Right. We do.
Yes, so we can advertise it
Okay,
in
all right. All righty, motion again.
Make a motion to approve the schedule, including the August 30th date.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Is that Frank?
I was right.
Okay. Okay, all in favor of this? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. Okay, next up. Annual art program. There's been time reading, although it's got about correction. I don't think I had.
I did send it out earlier and made the revisions. I got some comments back from Linda and revised a couple of tweaks to it. Other than that, I have not received any other comments. So it's up to the board how they would like to go about. Ask any questions at this meeting and approve it at the next meeting, or go ahead and approve it as it is.
Did everybody get a chance? I know everybody got a chance to, but did they actually read it? What do you think? Did you go with it, or do you want to wait? Any feedback? No?
Now, just so the board is aware, I mean, and going through this process of doing the revisions, we also go through and evaluate whether or not we actually met the work program. I think we did very well.
I thought so too. I was really pleased when I read it.
Yeah, going through it. There's only one that we didn't, and that was the making the videos. I would have that fallen behind now with I think doing me 2 instead of the 5. But other than that,
Catch up, Mason. All righty, so shall we vote on this, folks? Are you ready to approve the Conservation District annual work? It's basically our usual program with a few.
Video.
YouTube training video. Yeah, because I don't know that because now with Clean Water Academy putting up videos, whether or not we want to do them separately and have conflicting information. So that's the reason
Are
I'm
you
here.
linking to that from your page?
The Clean Water Academy, no, we have a link to that. It's gigantic. It's getting bigger and bigger now. Everything on the Clean Water Academy, but it is available to the public.
And include a link to the Clean Water
Yeah,
Academy.
yeah.
Not like each video. they
Right,
put
right.
up, but
A link to the whole page.
Right.
Yeah. That doesn't do any videos, but just the idea of doing the training as a goal that I don't know that if we had committed the time for it, the problem.
And then we.
Yeah. Yeah, we have like, but
You can do it.
we don't know what the time frame is. I think most of the extra time that was picked up from when I already hired is doing things with the county, the Public Works, Sustainability Commission and dealing with Capital Improvement Committee and the other committee that I'm on with the Operations Committee. But basically Francine, her division, we meet periodically too.
Yeah.
And do group things together as well.
That's
So
good. Yeah,
that takes up a little time.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is really good. I think this is a good thing. So, but I will entertain a motion to accept this Conservation District Annual Work Program. And,
So moved.
okay, thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, Elaine. All righty. Now, election of officers for 2022. Frank McKee has served as our vice chairman for a number of years. Our current chair, and our secretary treasurer is Ray. Now, what offices need to be re-elected?
Those three options, those are the
Okay.
three. And I just wanted to put a reminder in there, everybody to think about it, because we have to do that at January meeting.
Okay. All righty, so we'll table this in January.
Yeah, but just wanted to put it on the list so everybody would give a chance to think about it. If anybody had any problems about not wanting to be nominated, they could speak up now. If they're voting. Or anybody would like to assume the office of the vice chair, we can also. Or
Now,
call your fellow directors and talk to them, and let them know that you're willing to, so they can nominate that thing.
I make.
What are the duties of the vice chair?
So.
To run the meeting when Michelle is not
Right,
available.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the big excitement of the vice president. That's about it. But-
And to be a signatory on the check.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot.
That's another.
Right, exactly.
On our accounts.
They're doing all fight over. No, it's exciting. Alrighty. So next up is the poster contest at ISP. You have provided us this year's title, right?
Yes, Healthy Soil, Healthy Life. And last year, because all of the submissions had to be digital to the state, we didn't send out any hard copy brochures to the library system or the schools just due to the pandemic and lots of people not being fully in the schools. So we did it all email. So this year we're going to go back to the hard copies to libraries and to the schools, but also do email copies as well, just due to the little response we got via email last year. And that could have been for a number of reasons, but we'll do both.
Yeah, the library weren't really open either last year.
Correct.
It was like no connection at all.
Right, so we'll still send to the library digitally and they'll post it on their probably Facebook page, kind of signs, but they'll also have hard copy brochures available. So, and then I just put in the budget as well, some allocation for an award ceremony, but we'll see if that will happen when the time comes. Each of the state of the world, right?
Sure.
And, you know, we could always hold it outside too, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Right,
So.
exactly. So healthy soil, healthy life. This will be very interesting. We always have interesting takes on it. This one at least is pretty straightforward.
Right, and soil,
Right.
yeah. So, yeah, so I guess we'll just need a motion for the budget.
So I will entertain a motion to approve the budget for the poster contest.
Make a motion.
Thank you.
What is the budget, though? Did I
Oh, the
miss
budget-
something?
I'm sorry, you don't see it,
That's
it's
okay.
$1,200.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's $1,200.
1,200, okay. I couldn't hear.
Yeah, I know.
I'll second if there wasn't one.
Yeah, right enough, you're doing just right. It's the Randy and Ray show. Excellent. All righty, everybody approve it? Yeah, you-
All right.
All right, all in favor, yes? Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for that. This is gonna be more exciting, huh?
Yeah, hopefully more than, I guess.
Right, exactly, no. Exactly. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so now, is Beth on the line? No, Beth.
No, she's not plugged.
Okay. Okay, now we do have our DEP.
The only thing that I don't have, and Ed knows this because there was a call this morning on chapter 105, just the bureau staff and districts and regional office staff, a question and answer session basically.
Mhm.
And the one interesting thing that was noted was probably, it's not a given yet, but probably chapter 105 getting the first half of 2022. So we have a few ducks to get in line. That might be successful, but they're working on it. The one interesting thing on this morning's call was that some of the technical, the IT issues that e-permitting experiences, and they've been, there are high priorities that are corrected. There's a list apparently. Numerous things that need corrected. The priority ones filter through, obviously, but there's not budget that can correct all of them. So that's a little concerning, but we'll see. But at some point, the goal is that it's going to that it be mandatory. So
Yeah, on the 105, for the first couple of years, we had one application. I'm up to 9. I have more than probably so much of the guys in the region now.
Yeah.
On general, and none of them went through very smoothly. There was lots of little problems and things, but Andrew McDonald is the person that we would deal with, and he was very good to work with and very understanding, because none of them turned out to be necessarily what I did. So there were errors that he found that I had to be corrected. The biggest problem I have with the e-permitting right now on the 105 program is they don't allow us to hold up the application for our ENS review fee, because that's not in the regulations, they say. That's the way we always got people to submit the ENS plans, and we said your 105 permit is not complete until you get that. It is a requirement. So in other words, the law clearly says, your permit clearly says you can't start it without your approved erosion control plan. But they don't want us to hold up the permit to issue it. So people are getting issued permits. Chester Water Authority is a prime example. They have 4 of them that were issued, and they've never submitted.
it's strange because the 2 program, the door.
Right, exactly.
Submitted fees, so.
Which is not a problem, except I know a lot of districts are starting to talk about at meetings about abandoning the program because it just can't afford to run it. Well, that's part of the reason that they don't make this e-permitting could make it even worse, because first of all, they exempt from the fees all municipalities, which a lot of municipalities, I don't know, and PennDOT and all state projects. So then, yeah, so luckily we don't have to do as many PennDOT projects now, because most of them are GP11s and they all go through the region anyhow. But for the other permits, the sewer projects are some of the bigger ones, and that's the one that takes up a lot of time, and they're all municipal projects. So yeah, that's why you can't afford to do the program, because they exempted everybody. So hopefully they can change that in the future.
Right.
But there are certain things that need to be talked about. But right now, the ENS fee, the only way that we're going to be able to get it is that we try to send them little reminders, emails that, and some of them don't know, because you look through the e-permitting system, it doesn't even suggest you need it. And then nobody reads the paperwork they get with their permit. If they read the paperwork they got with their permit, then they would know that they can't start. And people have been doing that for years in other counties. Like Chester County, since they don't do the 105 program, a lot of projects get done without ever notifying them in ENS because they're just, they don't have time to track. So hopefully we'll find a way to
The
manage that
environment,
issue.
it really, for the environment, really behooves the district to have. That's sure. One of five programs. Sure. Regional office. Right.
We originally took the 105 program because when the general permit came out, originally, not now, but originally it was all rubber stamped. It was just a way to get through the audit. And then we found out, the developers found out, the builders found out, we were stopping their projects because they thought they had a permit, but it was just a rubber stamp permit and it really didn't qualify. So then that was the reason the home builders actually were the ones that actually asked us to participate in the 105 program. We've been doing it ever since. It's a great benefit, but we have to find a way to make sure that that cost us a lot of money to run too. But I think we're doing pretty good until this new e-permit takes off. Until we can find a way to make sure that they are submit their ENS plans and their ENS.
Have you made a comment to him about that? He's very
Yeah,
approachable.
we argued about it. Yeah.
Okay.
He said it's not in the regulation. I said, oh, well, they let us do it before, and then evidently whoever let me do it before wasn't supposed to.
Well, hopefully that. I don't have anything else. I don't have an update, unfortunately, on second finance officer position. Officer in office and our current one, IT Francisco, is just weeks away, not months away. January.
Oh, I thought it was December.
He's ambiguous about it. I think he's hoping that the second compliance officer position will get filled so that there can be a little bit of overlap, a little bit of institutional knowledge passed on back. I'm not sure that that's his, but I think it is, because he can retire anytime. So we may have a period where we don't have options. Just not more getting. Yeah, hopefully that's really short lived. And if you have any questions, no, unless anybody has any questions, certainly I'll sit down for as long as we do, but I need to go.
I have to go.
Should I go? You don't want to go to the doctor or anything?
No proof of purchase, nothing. We understand. Well, thank you, Linda.
Oh, you're very welcome. To see everybody, most people in person.
Right, exactly, it's been nice, yes. Okay, we'll have a nice holiday.
Yeah.
We'll see you in.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
I'll see everybody.
Yeah. All righty, next up. Ed, it's your turn.
Okay, you have my report in front of you, and a lot of stuff was on the agenda, so I don't need to go over that again. I did want you to know that the PATD highlight page, which is a promotional page that the PATD does for all 66 districts, which they put together in a document that they give to the legislature. We participate in that every year, and we did fill out that page for Delaware County and submitted it. The erosion and sediment control, some interesting projects. Tennicum Island Road relocation. So they're taking the road and moving it closer to Longhook Creek to make room for more airport improvements. So I don't know what exactly coming down the line. Yeah, so at one time it was going to move the UPS facility out to there. But I don't know if that's still on the ticket or not. There's a lot of changes going on at the airport management staff, and so we're not in complete knowledge of all the projects that are going on. But that's a big one. We've already had 2 reviews, and it's problematic. So it's take some more time to get that one approved. The 10th Street and 10th Street is a site in Marcus Hook that was in Viscos. And they've been trying to work with that for
American
years,
Biscuit.
right? American Biscuit, correct. And there's some contamination, there's been some fires there, but that project is, Duke, I think is the name of the company, is trying to get, we've had 3 pre-application meetings now. They have to reload Penn Street, street market, so, but they're moving forward with that. The contamination, they say, will be cleaned up and transported away from the site, the hot spot. There's a background contamination level on site, but nothing that exceeds residential standards. So hopefully that won't be moving forward.
Probably don't have to truck it very far. I had that soil remediation thing down there.
I don't know. Then there was a project that, not on this list, we had another pre-application meeting for our first solar farm. And you think, oh, that's great, solar farm. But it's on 16 acres of woodland. They're gonna cut off 16 acres of trees. So it doesn't fit the county's policy, I mean, the state's policy on the SOP for solar farms, because they say the biggest thing on solar farms is they don't really disturb a lot, but they just put it on the pastures or meadows and stuff. Well, this one's gonna be disturbing because they clean and grub the whole site. And it's on the, it's being built for a pipeline company.
Oh, Jesus.
Not powered their facility. So, yeah, so that
I'm sorry.
was interesting. So then we have that one as well. So those, and then we're doing some intersection improvements. We've had a couple pre-application meetings for US 1 and PA 452, which is a big traffic problem out there.
Oh, yeah.
They want to put some roundabouts in. So there's, they go through Franklin Mint, one road goes through Franklin Mint, the other one goes by the old Middletown Fire Company. So we've had some meetings discussing how that can be done. Well, and,
So what can be done to essentially stop the solar farm clear cutting?
yeah. No, I think they're encouraging the solar farm.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I love solar myself. I think it's a good idea, but I like trees more, and trees do more for us.
Trees do, and then it's always going to be a balance, and I don't know exactly the balance, even then when they're putting the solar farm out on farmland.
There's so many like dead parking lots now. Why don't they put them there?
Oh, well, this is the first one we had. There's a lot of them going in across the state of Pennsylvania, and this is the first one we had. It's just ironic that it happens to be here, so.
Generate power for the pipeline company.
Right, whether they have
It's on
a treat,
their
some kind of facility
property.
there.
Is it the 16 acres is on their property between their tank farm? I don't know if that's why they chose the location.
Where is this Delaware?
It's on off of Falk Road in Bethel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Take more of it. Talk about it.
It's off of Falk Road, yeah. It's the one where they had contamination issues that let it, the people have discovered in their drinking water. They had to do some public water. That was in the 80s. And so there are 2 related spills there. They're in the process of cleaning up and remediating on that.
It took them since the 80s in the process.
That one's pretty much done, but then another one happened. So, yeah, that's a big claim the other day. It's not in Act 2 yet. The one for the 80s is in Act 2. They have wells and stripping wells in. And I think the area was also in the public water as well.
Not good news. Well, I would hope that they find someplace else to put their solar. I mean, I understand what you're saying. It's municipal, and they already own it.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah, I just.
Right, thank you. Well,
We were approached by a company about doing solar on our place.
Oh, yeah.
I was willing to cut my Christmas trees down.
I did see, there's somewhere they have a solar farm with crops growing between, which seems kind of weird. That they must be shorter than the panels are, because they shaded the panels before. But at any rate, I thought that was a pretty good idea. But this idea of cutting down trees for solar, duh.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
They're not mutually exclusive. You can have solar panels and farms. placement is everything.
Well, they don't work underneath the trees, so.
But
Trees don't work.
Yeah.
the other things work underneath the solar panel. They have like farming kind of farm underneath there.
Somebody's gonna make a lot of money figuring that stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
Make it so that the solar panels go over top of it.
Right, there was something about the rain slides down the solar panel and sprinkles the low growing herb kind of, which makes sense. But,
That is what
This
the
doesn't.
state's policy is on the SFP, is they don't require the post-construction stormwater management because of the fact that it remains impervious because all the runoff goes on, floods under the grass and another. You have to make sure you put shade tolerant grass in, but shade tolerant grass usually doesn't grow as thick too. So the other thing in the rain, if it didn't, like PennDOT does that, they try to grow grass underneath bridges and it doesn't grow. It's not necessarily because of the sun, it's because it's getting water.
yeah, right,
Yeah, but
exactly, yeah.
at least the solar panels are gonna get water.
Yeah,
So
they
it
are
should
gonna
grow.
That's to do with stormwater management, it's impervious surfaces.
But it's not impervious because the only thing that's impervious is the 6-inch lip that they have when the water comes off the edge, they have a drip grid. So everything else is not, and then supposedly they don't have to access them that often. Once they build them, they're pretty much, they just have to. Some of them, the state's video actually shows goats and stuff grazing underneath them.
Right, right.
I passed a big one out, off the turnpike, heading towards Gettysburg.
Oh, yeah, I did see that
One
one.
out there.
So next, near some, I forget what kind of factory it is, some kind of agricultural type factory.
Right, right. We went on that conservation districts altogether tour in Chester County, and we went to a farm for a horse farm and a mushroom farm, and they all worked kind of synergistically, and they also had huge solar panels, but they were not growing anything on it yet. But it would seem great, you know, because the horse manure was used for the mushrooms and, you know, everything kind of all did it the right way. But they didn't have anything under their solar panels. I guess they're gonna make it. This is not good, it's just a personal opinion on this. Yeah. Okay. There's nothing we can do.
Not a violation of any of the policies that we enforce.
There we go, right. And say, no, this is.
And timber harvesting is also protected in Delaware County, in the state, because by the acre law.
All right.
And that even this municipalities, if somebody goes in and clear cuts a wood lot, they cannot stop that or require them to do things that's not required by state law. Because it's in terms of timber harvesting.
I don't think that if you're clearing a woods, it's really timber. In my,
Timber harvesting must have a very effective law.
they must.
They have to very protect the,
Well, I'm reading this book called Bark Skins now, and it's when they got rid of all the trees, they just kind of marched across the country. Taking out settlers,
yeah, that's one thing that you can take.
4 feet.
That there's more trees in Delaware County now than there was in the 60s.
Well, that's a
Because
good
the farming was all over everything.
Right.
So now you look at the aerial photos, like you can see tree cover on all these, about like Swarthmore. You drive, you can't tell that that's the residential areas.
Right, exactly.
So there's a lot more trees now than there was, but that doesn't mean there's not room for more.
Right, exactly.
Especially in the stream, along the
Oh,
streams.
yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Toward the end of our meeting, you gotta. Okay. Okay, next up is the 105 Dance of Waterways. Let's discuss the. Okay.
Okay.
Your, next on your report is.
Oh, yeah, but,
the contact.
yeah, there's nothing really extra to report there. We did 2 general permits and 2 on e-permitting that I haven't figured a way to keep track of those yet, because once I approve a permit, it disappears.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So I'm trying to keep track of But yeah, so I will try to do a better, trying to figure that one out.
Oh, thanks, Ed. Next up, Michelle.
I just wanted to add one note to that stormwater report that there is a registration fee, but I don't know what that is until I'm going to sign up for it. So just want maybe additional costs of the course. So I don't know if it's per
And
person.
Randy's motion for a certain amount of money wouldn't cover that, no?
So his motion was
I
for
think $3,000, so it's coming up $4 short,
right.
$4
So
over.
I'm not sure what that
It's gonna be more than
registration.
$4.
Yeah.
I'm a nervous guy.
I know. I'm not.
Now,
Okay, yeah, just wanted to thought, yep. Other than that, in my report, nothing specific to highlight, just had a very large amount of new NES applications come into the office in November, so, all three of us chipping away. And so that's, the main thing I want to highlight, so we're pretty much sticking to our deadlines, for the SOP for them.
You're welcome. Next up.
I kind of, there's not really much to report. Like Michelle said, there a lot of new permits came in. So I was kind of just focusing on that for the most part this last month. But yeah, if there's any questions.
Wastewater tunnel project?
Yeah, that's the Delcora project. Yeah.
it's gonna be a tunnel that runs from one side of the county to the other side of the county, 100 and some feet underground and about 11 feet in diameter.
Carrying wastewater.
And storage for so the benefit will be, it's gonna be a giant storage tank too as well, so it's gonna help prevent some of the bypass that they're experiencing. But it is a 11-foot,
Huge.
it's not gonna be round, it's gonna be square, but 11 foot. He said,
Pathway. You know, the path or direction.
right down to 91. Correct?
Four,
It was 5.
Five.
Well,
yeah,
it's weird.
but 5 was at the final step.
Yeah.
Down for,
Yeah.
right from Darby Township is the first one,
Yeah. Ridley
down to Ridley,
and the Muckapanees, so Central Delaware.
right,
And then the final one was Darby.
or, you right, yeah, she's from Darby to Chester.
Leading to the treatment plant.
Yep, to Delaware.
My biggest concern was where you put all the water on the trigger taken out of the holes. The other thing was the 5 holes, and we don't have any regulations on air quality, but
Well, how could it be good?
I don't know. I would think it's going to have the smell coming out of the hole.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know enough about tunnel and the sewage in the tunnel.
And I guess it'll always be low. So there's not.
Oh.
Magnet, I see.
Yeah.
And
Can we assume that though?
Well, and we
Say it was for
just
storage, not
reviewed
just.
the,
Yeah, because 11-foot, they don't need an 11-foot diameter
Wow.
flow. And that's a big pipe. It's not as big as what's going into southeast Philadelphia plant right now.
What's the problem that it's solved? What happens if we don't do it?
Right.
Well, that was the Delcore's decision to go ahead, I think, with this because the court was trying to make them pay for improvements to the southeast plant. So they said, well, it's cheaper for us to put this tunnel in, so you can imagine how much money we're talking about and handle our own sewage as opposed to. That's who we go to Philadelphia. So that's the reason for the tunnel, I think, my understanding of the reason.
The more sewage from eastern Delaware County can get treated in Delaware County.
Right, rather than going over to the south
Not having
Philadelphia
cells.
plant.
Meeting's really interesting. It's really. Okay, well, that's what I asked.
Glad I could clarify.
Okay.
Well, we do have two good park projects though. We have Rose Tree Park is putting in some park improvements for a new playground area right out here.
Right.
And then, the other one is Upland Park, is that the other one? Or Little Flower?
Little Flower Park, yeah.
Little Flower Park in Darby, so,
It's both Upland and Little Flower. So it's three projects.
Yeah.
Upland, Little Flower, and Rose Tree.
and we have two of them in now. We have the two for, Little Flower and for Rose Tree right now, work on the park.
Little flower behind that.
Those are the projects that are.
Yeah.
Metro.
Maybe Upland will have to come and maybe it's on an acre, I don't know.
Have you reviewed just the playground or the next, it's not yet the next component that we added to it?
I don't know. I haven't seen any of it
Yeah,
yet.
that was
These
just,
two were just the two that came in.
we just expanded it to add a athletic field and trail around.
You'll be here.
Yeah, so I guess that will be a bit, well, they don't have a permit yet, but it's gone through the cleaners, so, and it's
Good.
cute. So I guess they'll be,
I know he's sending that over.
yeah,
Yeah, they did the other two, right?
yeah, they
Yeah.
did, but Little Flower Nourish.
Okay, there was some good news in there.
Anyway, all right, so the three parks are Upland,
Mhm.
the Little
Little Flower.
Little Flower. Little Flower is where that floodplain.
Little Flowers was the old nursing home that they purchased for open space. It's on Darby Creek, in Springfield Road. And, it has the old mansion on the property. But this part is going to have the entrance road and some park facilities as part of it.
So we went there during the Green Again trip, and it was like the houses had gotten flooded out. It's like the behind the hospital and everything. Is that-
That's, above that, yeah.
It's on that, okay, all
Yeah,
right.
luckily the Little Flower Manor is not in the floodplain. There's a trail
That's
that's
up a steep slope from there, the
Yeah,
other
right,
side.
exactly, yeah. Yeah, I remember that too. It has a declivity on the back of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is phase one of the park. It's the section farther from the mansion, but hoping to really open it up and make it more accessible to people.
Yeah, nice, excellent. So you're involved with this, huh? Yeah. All right. Okay, so we're done with Harry now. We're done with Michelle. Connor, there you are, Tori, you've been so
Yeah.
quiet today.
Yeah, I don't really have too much to add either. Just kind of similar to my month I had last month. Just a lot of pre-application meetings or pre-construction meetings rather. Yeah. So if there was any questions on that, let me know.
Are they enlarging Haverford High School?
They are. They've already added on a 3-story building with a green roof on top of it. It was like an addition onto. I guess they call it the east side of the high school, and now they're adding a music wing on. Like they made a parking lot. It's 2 phases. They made a parking lot in the first phase, and now they dug up a parking lot where they're putting a music wing. That's like the second phase of it. So yeah, they are expanding it.
Right, exactly, yeah. Okay, anything, is that all you want to talk about right now?
Yeah, that's it.
Right, well, thank you. Next up, Karen, who has a long list of things.
Well, I talked about most of those things earlier.
Oh, okay.
So the only other thing that I did want to highlight, we did accept 2, in my report, it says 2 applications for the Tree Vitalized Watersheds program, but technically, I guess it would be 3 separate projects. So we received one from the Upper Darby Tree Tenders group at Gillespie Park in Upper Darby, and this is phase 2 of a project that they just completed there. And then Haverford Township is applying for 2 separate sites, one at Haverford Reserve and one at Darby Creek Trail, at one of their parks. I can't remember the name of the park. But that would be two separate projects. They just submitted the same application, so. But yeah, fewer applications than we've received in previous years. I'm not sure why. We did have a couple questions about it from people before, when the application announcement was sent out, but I do know one of the projects or one of the potential applicants that we spoke with wasn't ready to apply yet. So they're gonna wait until next year when they have their ducks in a row. And besides everything I've talked about today, if there's any question.
Questions, anybody? Okay, so we have come to the end of the bill. I will entertain a motion to
So moved.
adjourn.
Second.
Okay, the R&R group. Thank you very much. I'm sure you're all in favor of adjourning. Thank you very much.
Have a nice Christmas, everybody.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Happy holidays all.
It's Christmas. Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.